Scorpio, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation. In this video, every single week, I review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal sun and what that means for your bottom line, like what that means translated into real life terms. All you need to understand to really relate to this video is your birth date. That's all you need to know. Everything else I'll translate for you. We're going to start off really broad with the big stuff, the charts of the week, so what's going on globally, and then we're going to focus that down into Scorpio specific information, and then I will break everything down into the 3 decans of Scorpio so that I can tell exactly how your natal sun is being aspected and what that means. Now, it's not a psychic connection. I'll be able to tell by what degree your natal sun is located at. And even if you don't know the degree at which your natal sun is located in the sign of Scorpio, that's okay, because I'm sure you know your birth date, and I'll be able to give you the correlating birth dates for those placements. So you don't have to worry. This is for the week of September 12th through the 18th of 2023. Big stuff there's actually a lot of really lovely stuff that's happening. I think this is a great week, and I think it's a silently great week. I think it's a soft great week in that it's not so prominent and rapturous, but it's lovely and open, and I'll explain to you why I think that. So for most of the week, we have a grand Earth trine that's forming between Pluto at 28 degrees Capricorn, Uranus at 22 degrees Taurus, and check this out, babies, the sun, which is sliding in ever so more intently to a perfect trine throughout the week. And all week long, it'll be beautiful. I think the sun starts at like 19 degrees Virgo, and by the end of the week, it's at like 26 degrees. What I do have to say is that there is a new moon. So on the 14th of this week, so this week starts on the 12th, so relatively early in this week, the moon joins the sun at 21 degrees Virgo, and so it will also be trine to Pluto and Uranus, which are in a very long-term trine to each other, very long-term. So what does that mean? Well, there's harmony here. And because everything is in Virgo, and this is what excites me so much, because I think Virgo energy is one of the most underrated energies in the zodiac. But Virgo is what gets things done. Virgo is what creates the systems that nourish, replenish, and actually make things function. So it's so imperative that all of this energy be functioning optimally, and in this new moon it is. And so I think there's a major breakthrough. Trine, so any kind of grand trine is going to represent an easement. You know, sometimes it can be laziness, but not in a frickin' earth sign. I can tell you that right now. Earth is the hardest to move. Earth is the most steadfast energy. Whether you're mutable Earth in Virgo, or whether you're cardinal Earth in Capricorn, or, oh my God, almost impossible to move, Taurus, it says fixed Earth. Earth is the hardest energy to move. So when there's an easement that happens in this beautiful grand trine, and it includes the energies of Pluto and Uranus, which are dynamic change, like metamorphic, dynamic, radical change. There is an easement here, especially when the sun is involved. We're going to really feel it personally, even if you're not personally a Virgo. Though if you're curious, just because you love astrology, check out by the end of the week their reading too, or their reading from last week, because it includes this new moon. Major energies of easement and the ability to change, especially those aspects of yourself or the way that you're seen, so that people will be, it's not lackadaisical, they'll be more open. They'll be more open to you, your innovations, and it's not so much about rules, laws, and regulations as it is about potential when it comes to this kind of energy, and I love it. So this new moon promises a beautiful opportunity for growing something new, for planting those seeds, or actually being seen in a new way, in a different way, by people who are more willing to listen to you in ways that they may not have before. So let's get more into this. We have a new moon on the 14th. It's at 21 degrees Virgo, trine to Pluto and Uranus in Earth. So people are open to possibility. They start to loosen on their restrictions, a willingness to innovate. Now, we also, which is the hardest to, it's very hard for Earth to be innovative, right? Because it's not the conceptual energy, that's air, and it's not the passion or progress, that's fire, and it's not the flowing ebb and flow of eternity and psychic insights like water. Earth is real world, real time, real place, measurement. So it's really all about rules, laws, and restrictions. All three of the earth signs are. So when you have this beautiful easement, it's almost like, yeah, but let's think about what else we can do. Or you know what, maybe we've just been too fixed in our way, and what we need is a little openness, because right now we need innovation. This is just a wonderful energy. So because it includes the sun, how are you? Oh, no. So let's go on. I wrote this down. The sun is also, during this new moon, throughout this week, while the sun is in this beautiful grand earth trine, the sun is in opposition to Neptune. Now that can be very complicated energy. Why do I say that? Because it is a very complicated energy. Neptune is all about dreams and psychic energy. It can also be about distraction. It can also be about deception. It can also be about faith. It can also be about connecting to the ethereal. It can also be about trickery. It can also be about toxicity. So Neptune really can surprise you, and I think that's part of the point. I know Uranus is really that surprise attack, but Neptune, it's just how it is. Its presence, its being is amorphous. So it can mold into anything. And then you have it in opposition. And opposition is really the conflict here, because if it was trine to the sun or sextile to the sun, this is beautifully creative energy. But in opposition to the sun means there is tension created between our world of dreams and fantasies and the way that we see who we are, what we do, our ego, and what we shine light on. So when that comes into opposition with each other, there's a sense of really maybe even delusions about the self, not knowing who the hell you are, or not knowing what you're capable of. Now check this out. This is how I combined them all. How are you deceiving yourself regarding what you're capable of? Ease up on all the strict laws, regulations, and stuff that are telling you can't, because this is how it's always been done. How are you deceiving yourself? And what can you really get done? And what can you not? How do we have an honest conversation about our real capacity for innovation and progress, as opposed to being stuck in this fixed way of understanding what we are capable of? And that's why this new moon is giving us this beautiful energy to try something new and a beautiful thing to come from it, because this is almost like perfect soil to plant a new seed in. The trick here is that you have to be open to the possibility. Now, we have also Mercury in opposition to Saturn, which means rules, laws, restrictions on how we speak or how we think, or feeling like we can't say what we want to say, or almost like perfection, like you can't say anything if it's not, or you can't think anything if it's not perfect. That sense of repression of thoughts and communications. Now that's only till the end of this week, the last 2 days this week. So I would say the 17th or 18th, that's going to break away, and Mercury will be free again. Mercury will also be direct. Mercury goes direct on the 15th of this week. Now Mercury will go retrograde again back in December. Forward into December around holiday season. But for right now, Mercury is coming out of retrograde. That'll make 2 planets, inner planets, so they impact us every day. That's Mercury and Venus are now out of retrograde. Mercury stays about 8 degrees Virgo pretty much this whole week because it's slowing down, posting stationary, and then going direct. So it doesn't make many big moves this week, but it is going direct, and it will post direct by the 15th. That means those last couple of days, as it starts to pull even further away from Saturn, because Saturn has retrograded all the way back to 2 degrees. 2 degrees Pisces, it's now starting to go deep. Mercury for the next week is going to start going deeper into Virgo, and so that means there's no more opposition there. It's like breaking free when it comes to maybe what we can say or who we can say, or any kind of maybe conversation that we didn't even want to have, finally having the open mind to be able to say it, or be able to, finally speak to somebody we wanted to speak to, or say something that we needed to say. This is almost like that springboard effect of, okay, now I can spring back and actually get into it and get into the work of it. We also have very optimistic energy this week, where Venus is trying to Chiron and square to Jupiter. That's all about healing, especially how beautiful we feel, how valuable we feel. Healing in some ways our financial issues or stressors. And then that square to Jupiter is very indicative of decadence and overindulgence. But in all this other kind of optimistic energy, it could just be a sense of something to be happy about, something to feel grateful for, and something to feel joyous. So that's beautiful energy as well. So I love this week. I gotta say that. Scorpio, let's go into Scorpio specific energy. So I look for two things. What's going on with your Scorpio? What's within Scorpio? And that's nothing. There's nothing really important, big going on in Scorpio. But you also have your ruling dignitaries. And yes, you have one primary ruling dignitary, which is your modern ruler. And for you guys, that's Pluto. But you also have your traditional ruler. And traditional rulers, it's not all of a sudden like they just stop impacting your energy. No, Mars is very much still scorpionic energy. So we got to look at what's going on with Mars and with Pluto. Let's start off with Pluto. Highly active, though it moves very slow. It is still in retrograde, but it's still at 28 degrees Capricorn. It's still square the nodes, trine to Uranus, and sextile to Neptune. This is a very dynamic, game-changing energy that over the next decade will absolutely be changing society, especially through technological advancements. That trine to Uranus says it all. Big, major frickin' changes. And the fact that it's also sextile to Neptune means highly creative energy and game-changing energy that doesn't need to think inside the box. It's energy that would create something, a complete different alternative to the box, that kind of energy. But that's long term, and we'll see that unravel over the next decade. But then we have this week, Pluto is trine the sun, and Pluto is also trine that new moon. Now, when Pluto trines the sun, this is a very formidable and positive and influential energy about our egos and our sense of what is possible and our sense of courage. And then we also have that trine to the new moon, which is our sense of the new and our sense of the possible. So this is a highly impactful time for you guys to let go of the old. And in fact, I would start that now, so that when that new moon hits especially, you are ready to plant those new seeds. Now Mars is in Libra, and it will move, it's going direct. So I'm sorry, I misspoke. We have Venus and Mercury now both going direct by the end of this week, but Mars has been direct. So we have actually 3 inner planets going direct. Jupiter, it's going to take, I would say, until like it's later on this in the wintertime. It's later on, I think it's in December when it finally comes out of retrograde. Though Pluto is about to come out of retrograde in October, and Neptune will follow along, I think in around November. I might be wrong with that. But so planets are starting to pick up again. They're starting to move direct again. Really interesting. We have Mars moving in Libra between 10 and 14 degrees, so it's in the second decan of Libra. And Mars is sextile to Venus all week long. This is sexy, virile, confident energy that, especially since Venus is also trine to Chiron and square to Jupiter, this is very optimistic and lucky, fortunate energy. I think, especially when it comes to finances, a real major push going forward. By the 17th of this week, Mars will be in direct opposition to Chiron. This is complicating because it's either going to bring out injuries or create or bring up old injuries. And it is definitely something that now and through the next couple of weeks, you guys really need to watch out for. Don't push yourselves, especially physically, because Mars opposition to Chiron is certainly going to make things more difficult for you. Could be more aches and pains, could be more back aches, could also once again remind you of those ways that you were stifled, or your masculinity was stifled, or your inability to take action and move forward was made extra difficult and extra hard, especially in ways that you would take more personally. So this is really an opportunity for you to address those issues. Whether like it or not, they will come out. And on the 12th, Mars is going to be semi-square to the moon. That's the first day of this reading. That's the 12th. It's a couple of days away from the new moon. So on that day in particular, some of you might be a little bit more pop-offish, a little bit more irritable. It won't last for long, but if you feel your energy shifting, just breathe through it and give yourself the space that you need. It could just make you a little bit more angry and impulsive on the 12th. So let's get into the decan, shall we, Scorpio? Okay. If you know that your natal sun is located between 0 and 9 degrees Scorpio, it's in the first decan of Scorpio, and you are Scorpio 1s. This correlates to Scorpio birthdays pretty much in October. I would say October 22nd through the 31st. Now that can change, right? Sometimes Scorpio starts on the 21st. Sometimes it doesn't start till October 23rd, in which case some of you may be in the first decan of Scorpio and be November 1st or November 2nd birthdays. But it's in and around those dates. Average, it's between the 22nd of October and the 31st of October. Your natal suns are sextile to Mercury all week long. This is beautiful energy even when it's in retrograde, because it will really make you clever, bright, and articulate. Your natal suns are square to Pluto if you're at the cusp. So this would be October 22nd, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, maybe 24th. You guys are in that square to Pluto, which makes you pretty formidable. This is formidable energy, but at the same time, a little troublesome, because it'll make people want you out or not want to listen to you because, oh, this motherfucker's here to take over. That kind of energy. So it's like taking that deep breath, digging into your psychic abilities, and understanding how to talk to people on that level will be very important over the next couple of years for you to be able to make profound changes in your life, which you can with the sun square to Pluto. Your natal suns are also in a long-term trine to Saturn, so that's all this year up through, I think, February of 2024. Your natal suns are in this trine to Saturn, and that is like an easement when it comes to your professionalism, to your career, to your opportunities dealing with authority figures or becoming an authority figure and having people really trust you. So that's really beautiful energy. That can conflict a little bit with that. No, I don't think so. That square to Pluto, that means especially when it comes to work, people aren't going to fuck with you, and it is definitely time for you to push forward with that. If you are born between October 31st and November 3rd, which goes into the second decan of Scorpio, your natal suns are going to be semi-square to this new moon. That means it's going to be more impactful, a little bit agitating, and whatever you're pushed toward, like whatever you feel like nagged about, I would definitely pay more attention to, because it's trying to tell you something. This is major opportunities when it comes through work or your process or getting things done. So this semi-square could cause more agitation, but also create more conviction, or more open-mindedness with what you have to change to actually accomplish what you want to accomplish. Just an FYI. So, Scorpio 2s, if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Scorpio, it's in the second decan of Scorpio. You guys are Scorpio 2s. This correlates to birthdays on average between November 1st and November 11th. So, most of you are going to be within 30 degrees of Mars all week long. What does that mean? Impulsivity, a little bit of physical oomph or invigoration, but also by frustrating you, by pushing you. It's more of just an excitable energy. And so I only mention this because toward the end of the week, when Mars goes into opposition with Chiron, you might want to watch out, especially around that time, you guys. You might want to watch out for taking too many physical risks. I'm not saying don't do anything, but you may be spurred a little bit more than most to take risks that will lead to injury, or get a little bit more frustration if those old injuries come up. Just an FYI. You have a square all week long to Venus, between your natal suns and Venus. This is highly creative energy. It's also very frustrating energy. There is that sense of, I need to be good enough. I need to get attention. I need to be better. I need to be bigger. I need to be a little bit flamboyant and flabbergasted, like flamboyancy. Right? But if I don't get the attention, I may be really frustrated about it. This could also cause a little bit of conflict between who you are and who your partner is, or you might have to face some challenges with finances that you absolutely will have an opportunity to smooth out this week, but they will come with a lot of agitation to make sure you don't ignore them so that you can solve them and release that energy to productivity. If you're born between November 1st and the 3rd, your natal suns are going to be semi-square to the new moon. This is also like what I said for these guys, because I included it also in Scorpio 1. So it's really between October 31st and November 3rd. All of you guys are going to really be kind of almost like pricked or pinched to get something done and accomplish something, or be inspired to accomplish something, because the agitation is like a pebble in your shoe. It won't let you go, but that's good. It's a blessing. You have an opposition to Jupiter. That's long term. That'll be there. What does that mean? Very creative, very optimistic, but also sometimes a little so optimistic that you are ahead of yourself, and then you could be let down really easily because your expectations far exceeded your capacity or your capability. So that's the only thing you may have to, kind of not stop yourself, but not rush into everything, especially not with what your expectations are for those situations. And that's it. Let's move on to Scorpio 3. Scorpio 3, if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Scorpio, you guys are Scorpio 3s because your sun is located in the third decan of Scorpio. Your natal suns are going to be sextile to the sun all week long. Happy loving who you are, and beautiful charisma and allure all this week. It also means they're sextile to the new moon. So you guys are going to feel a great deal of optimism and fortune, because sextiles bring opportunity. You better plant that new seed, go out on that audition, go out and apply for those jobs, talk to that person. Even if you thought in the past they would never recognize you, that easement created by that grand trine is really going to help you get your foot through the door. I love this energy for you, not just in terms of career, but whatever you're creating, nurturing, and building, it's going to be very productive for you, and an especially magical time for you this new moon. I love it. We have an opposition long term to Uranus, which is challenging. It is pushing you out of the skin that you are in. It is making you uncomfortable with the norm. You want different and dynamic things. It is what encourages you to push, to try new things, to innovate your life and yourself and who you are. So you could be going through a lot of major changes to who you are and what you like and what you think over the next couple of years. And then of course you are also sextile to Pluto. This is a major dynamic changes, being able to pull them off and almost be that disruptor that everybody loves because you're making the changes that everybody wants. And then we have that trine to Neptune, which is creative, sensitive, and psychic. With between that and Pluto, this is like exceptional, magical, powerful, innovative energy that it's not going to quit. You are really in an epicenter of creativity, expansion, and metamorphosis. So you guys let me know in the comments below how you feel this energy impacting you. I love you guys so much, and thank you for watching. Please, if you like this video, like it, give it a thumbs up, share it with people you think would also enjoy it, and then subscribe to this channel before you log off and check out your week ahead tarot card reading on Born Without Boundaries Tarot. I'll see you guys there. Bye.